Alright, this should actually be a real one. This is our third attempt. This one should be the one that works. We're going to hope. I'm pretty sure we're still going to have a delay because YouTube seems to like to have a delay. Everything looks good. Look at that. Public. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. I guess we'll see if people start watching. So to catch you up to speed, this will be my third attempt to do this live stream. I hate live streaming. I hate it with a passion. I don't even know why I bothered doing it. Probably because it's the future. It's more interactive. Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It's complicated. I can live stream pirated movies all day long. Don't even know I'm doing it, but I can do it. But trying to do an actual live stream doesn't seem to work. I'm just waiting to see if anybody's watching. See, it doesn't tell me if anybody's watching either. Oh, there we go. Now it's catching up. There's such a delay. We got 2. Yay. That means it's got to be working. That means it's me and a family member are watching. So hopefully that number goes up, or this will be a short live stream. But at least I know that I'm doing a live stream. Until then, I guess we'll just sit here and stare at each other. The complications of live streaming. This is pretty much just to see if there's anybody out there that would watch me if I just did a live stream without announcing it. There's 3. Yay, we got somebody else. Alright, I guess we'll continue. So yes, getting back to what happened about an hour or so ago. I decided I wanted to do a live stream. It was going to be epic. It was entitled The Heifer Story, My Fall into Madness. Which might actually still be the title because I don't think I changed that. After an hour of doing this live stream with nobody watching, I got pissed off and stopped, only to find out that one of the settings was off, and that was very annoying. I hate live streams. I don't really know if I could go through the whole heifer story again. It's a long, complicated mess of a story. But what else do I have to talk about, really? Anything. I've got plenty to talk about. Also, this could be a Q&A. I could talk about how to be a YouTube superstar. I watch those videos and they're just ridiculous. The heifer. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go into all of that again. I just did an hour on that topic. It was a long topic. Horrible. So, borderline personality disorder. What do I want to say about just the topic of borderline? That it's annoying as hell. One of the reasons I'm doing a live stream and not just shooting regular videos, because for the last 2 days I've been horribly depressed for no reason whatsoever, which I get so sick of. Yeah, the whole 4th of July I was moping all day long for no good damn reason. I can understand being depressed on my birthday, I can understand being depressed at Christmas, Thanksgiving, but the 4th of frickin' July, really? Why am I depressed on the 4th of July? And why does that 4th of July depression continue over into the 5th of July? It makes no sense. So, to get myself out of bed and to try to do something productive, I decided to do a live stream. That way I can try to boost my ego by seeing how many people will come watch a live stream that I didn't announce. And it looks like 2 people will come watch a live stream that I don't announce. That's a good turnout, right? And that looks like shit. There we go. Lame, lame, lame. Today has been lame. Yesterday was lame. I figured tomorrow will be lame. All depressing, huh? No, I'm not really that depressing. Alright, I guess I'll go through with the heifer story. So let's see. I'll go with the short versions. See if anybody's watching. If not, we'll just do a short version and call it a day. So I was always a heartless romantic type for a long time. I believed that I grew up watching these 80s romantic comedies, or just 80s comedies in general, were always the nerd or the outcast, the bad boy will get the girl, and like the prom queen, of course. And then they will live happily ever after. At least that's what the movies showed. In reality, they probably broke up shortly after the movie was over, but we never got to see that part. So I believed that, I fit this criteria quite well. When I was younger, I was overweight and dorky. Then in my teen years, I got skinny and I was more the bad boy troublemaker type. But I still had this whole idea that I would meet the love of my life and that we would live forever and ever all happy and whatever. My first relationship was actually with this chick that was into modeling. So, she was attractive. I thought she would be the love of my life, and that relationship lasted for 3 years. So for a first relationship, it lasted for a while. Once that relationship went to crap, that was when I decided to start using drugs. It was after that first relationship went to hell. I went on because like I said, I had grown up with this idea that I would just find this one chick and that we would live together forever and ever and ever and be happy. So when the first relationship fell apart, I figured I was doomed to be single forever. I'd never find another girl that I liked. And I'd always heard that drugs would kill you. Drugs were bad for you. So yeah, I think it was the day that relationship went to shit. It was the first day I tried drugs. Within 6 months, I'd pretty much done every drug there was. I became good at it. I found I had a skill. I had a knack at it. I was really good. I was really good at doing everyone else's drugs and my drugs. I was working, so I could pay for it too. All my money just went to drugs. It was a great time in my life. Little did I know that I would meet a girl in this period of time. So right after the 3-year relationship ended, I went on this drug bender that would last for the next 20 some odd years maybe. But 6 months into this drug bender, I met the girl that I would think was the love of my life. We got into a relationship, and this one lasted 10 years. 10 years, yeah, that was a long one. Well, that one eventually fell apart as well. And after she left, I had a kind of mini little breakdown. But I was always convinced she was going to leave. I never thought that, I've had BPD forever. It just seemed to escalate later in my life. Well, after the heifer, but we'll get to that. I was always convinced that this girl was going to leave me because she was too good for me. I knew she'd find somebody better. There were signs, and the last 4 years of the relationship was touch and go. I'm surprised we lasted as long as we did. Her leaving wasn't that shocking. I saw it coming. I knew it was just a matter of time. So when she left, it hurt and it was bad, but I had kind of built myself up for it. I was ready for it, and I just figured that when she left, I would just say, fuck it all, and just really get into the drug world and the criminal world, because I was staying out of it by, we lost somebody. Oh well. I was staying out of the drug world by, I would just work I was in a relationship, so I just work and do my drugs. I was recreational, I guess, but I wasn't full time. After the 10-year breakup, I went ahead and oh, and she was beautiful, by the way. It does matter that these two women were beautiful. It, it comes into effect later. Um, so I just went more into the drugs, which led to arrests, not having jobs. I was finally in a position where the town I was living in was no good for me anymore. I'd burned all my bridges with the drug dealers. I was in legal trouble. I was really close to getting my legal trouble all fixed. And there's nowhere I could stay in this town, though, and not get in trouble. I had an opportunity to move to a new place to reinvent myself, so I took the opportunity. I moved and reinvented myself. Got a job, all that good stuff. As far as women were concerned, after losing the love of my life, I did not want a relationship. I decided not to get into a relationship again. I was more of a one-night stand type, which worked fine, and this was going fine for years. I wouldn't get into another relationship after that last one. I think it was 10 years or so. It was a long damn time before I got into another relationship. And the relationship I got into was with this heifer who threw my back out. Now I have back pains. So that's just a warning to all of you males out there. If you're going to be with a heifer, don't try to perform some kind of sexual move that has never been attempted before, because you could throw your back out and then you'll have serious back injuries for the rest of your life. Always bend with the knees. Just saying. Now this chick was a chick that I would never have gone for, ever. Because I was superficial, very superficial. And women had to fit into a certain weight class. You know, I didn't want to take on a heavyweight. You know, I was more into the lightweights. Yet that hadn't worked in the past. Like I said, my two really long-term relationships, the girls that I thought would be the love of my life, would be with me forever, had abandoned me, and they were beautiful. So I was making a correlation. They were beautiful, they had left. Well, here was this chick that was definitely not beautiful, but she had this really good personality. She had an awesome personality. One of the best things about her personality was she was absolutely, obsessively in love with me and thought I was just the best thing that had ever happened. And this girl, like, worshipped me, or so I thought. So it played into my ego big time. And I turned her down a lot, but eventually she wore me down. And I started thinking, you know, these other chicks have been beautiful, and they weren't, I had to chase them, and I had to really work to get them. And it was always a struggle to keep them. Here's this chick that, you know, she's not very good looking, and she'd probably hurt my back, but she's got a great personality and she's really into me. The odds of her taking off and leaving me, I figured, were slim to none. So I decided to give it a shot. I mean, it might work out better than the last two. And since I had no idea, I really did not think this chick would leave me, ever. It did not seem like it was a possibility. It did not seem like it could happen. So I completely let my guard down on this whole fear of abandonment thing. It was probably the only time that I've ever been sure of anything, as far as people go and not leaving me. I mean, I was convinced this chick was not going to ever leave. I mean, I figured she could never get a guy that would be as good as I was. I sometimes thought I was doing her a favor. But she was doing me a favor by being so into me and being, you know, whatever. Now, this relationship lasted for 3 years. When one day I came home from work to find... Oh, and this girl even... I mean, this is how bad... This girl actually got me to stop using drugs. That drug bender that I was on that I told you about. This is something that the love of my life couldn't do. I mean, the girl I really, really cared about couldn't get me to stop using drugs. That's what destroyed that relationship. With this chick, with her being so into me and all of that, was able to actually she was able to convince me of a lot. She was able to convince me to abandon all my friends that I had until I was completely isolated, and she was like the only person in my life. I mean, I had no friends. And it was at the point where like I started fights with all my friends so that I could, yeah, she completely put a wedge in between me and my friends. It was at a position where it was just me and her in this apartment, but all my money went to paying the bills and the rent. She was working, but all her money went to going out with her friends every night and hanging out, doing whatever. It was that ego that, yeah, she played my ego really good. But yeah, she'd even convinced me to stop using the drugs. And so I was clean and sober for, I think, the last year of our relationship. So one day I come home from work and I find her mother and her best friend packing up all of her stuff. And this is the point where she informs me that she's leaving, that she just can't take it anymore. I never get an explanation for what it is that she could not take. And she immediately, that day, moves into some dude's house that she's not dating or whatever. Did I forget to mention that when we started dating, she was living with a guy and she didn't tell him that she was cheating on him until the day she decided to leave. And then she pretty much had her mom and her best friend go and pack up her stuff from this dude's house to move into my house. It was pretty familiar to that situation. So I think this heifer was a master manipulator. That's besides the point, though. The real point is that I had completely let my guard down on this whole being abandoned thing. I hadn't really even had any of the, like, normal... I was living pretty much normal. Like, the effects of the whole BPD thing really didn't bother me that much during this time period. I mean, I should have been more jealous and controlling. I wasn't. Because I was not unsure. She played into that ego enough and convinced me enough that, like... Anyway, it was just weird. So the day she left, I really snapped. I did not see it coming, and all this BPD crap just comes flooding in. I mean, I've had BPD forever. There's been signs of it, but it really triggered when she left. Which was so crazy, because I had to convince myself to like this chick, and the only reason I liked this chick was because I didn't think she would leave. It was the only thing keeping us together. So never date someone because you don't think that they could find somebody else. Horrible idea. Horrible, horrible idea. Yeah, I didn't see it coming. This caused such a snap in my psyche. I fell into the worst depression that I've ever fallen into. Because if this chick could leave, this heifer could leave me, that nobody would want, then that meant that anybody could leave. And that I was truly worthless, because if I couldn't even keep this chick. That was the closest to actual suicide I got. And the drug bender I went on after that was insane. I'd been sober for a year. After she left, I just saw no reason to be sober anymore. So I went back into... Alright, well, you get some sleep. You can watch this later. I'm surprised somebody's watching at 2 a.m. I wouldn't be watching me at 2 a.m. Anyway, so, yeah, I lost it. I started being a dick at my job. I tanked that job. And decided I was done with relationships, which I've still yet to ever get into another relationship. I won't make that mistake again. So done with relationships. And it took me a long time to start, like, that was pretty much, like, the person I was, the individual I was before this chick left is not the person I am now. Like, I have never been the same after that. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Through everything I had experienced, through my entire life, nothing ever destroyed me like that did, which is just, it blows my mind, because it's a chick that I didn't even like that was able to take me down, that I had to convince myself to like. It boggles the mind. So that would have been the birth of MrBPD. It was shortly after this incident, where I started making my first videos and doing the YouTube thing. And I don't even, it's hard to remember the person I was before, but I know I was completely different. I definitely wasn't half as crazy as I am now. So, yep, that's the heifer story. And since we don't really have too many viewers, we're going to end it there. People can watch this later at their own convenience.